What's going on guys, Chris here, and today I'm going to be talking about some of the more underrated and overlooked gadgets of Battlefield 1. Some of the ones that might not sound or appear to be very useful or interesting on the face of it, but can actually be used in a variety of different ways to really benefit yourself and team, allowing you to survive and deal with the situation more tactically, and essentially giving you an advantage in some scenarios. So first things first, we're going to kick our list off with a scout class tool, the Trench Periscope, which is definitely one of the more useful ranged gadgets that a scout player can equip. It's essentially a pair of periscope binoculars which can be used to spot enemies and vehicles in the distance, making them much easier for yourself and squad mates to hunt down and take out. Now using the Trench Periscope isn't like traditional spotting, where you need to aim at your target and spam the spot button, which then paints that red icon over their head and puts them on the minimap. It's a hell of a lot more useful, as it not only puts their position on the minimap, but it highlights their entire body with a red outline, making them easier to be seen through the in-game particle effects. And spotted tanks, behemoths and other vehicles can also be seen through walls to warn other players of their presence. Not only can highlighted enemies be seen by yourself, but they can also be seen by your entire team too, which makes them far easier to take care of when they're running around attacking or defending objectives. And I should also mention that any targets taken out by teammates whilst highlighted by the periscope will net you more points, giving you an extra 35 for a periscope assist on top of the 25 points gained for a normal spot bonus, adding up to 60 points in total, which is a pretty nice amount for just spotting players in the distance. Probably one of the best parts about all of this is the fact that the binoculars can be used in complete safety from cover, and you can be sat behind a wall or inside a trench and still use them to find out the exact whereabouts of your targets without putting yourself in the line of fire. If a sniper in the distance just fired a round that whizzed past your head, but you've got no idea where that sniper might be, then you can hit the deck and whip out the old Trench Periscope to find out, without putting yourself in a vulnerable position. If you're paying attention to that range slider at the side of the binoculars, then you can also see just how far away your enemies are too, and use that information to work out whether or not they're in your rifle's sweet spot zone. The periscope will emit a slight glare, which can be seen by other players, but they're not going to be able to shoot you whilst you're chilling behind cover. And if you work in tandem with another scout player in your squad, you can actually work as a tag team, one person playing defensively, spotting and distracting enemy snipers in the distance with that glare, whilst the other player pops the distracted enemies' heads off, giving both players a fair amount of points in the process. But generally, the Trench Periscope is a great gadget for doing what the scout class was designed to do: scouting the area and relaying intelligence of your enemy's whereabouts back to your team, so they can rush in and take them down, helping them out from a distance to take objectives and ultimately turning the tides of battle into your team's favour. The next gadget in our little list is going to be the Medic Smoke Grenade Launcher, or you know, just the general smoke grenade found on all classes. This is one of the more tactical gadgets which can be found in the game, as it's not designed to directly cause damage, but it can instead help to block lines of sight and make it easy for yourself and teammates to rush through areas, which would otherwise be suicidal. If you're getting mowed down by a bunch of enemies defending an objective or an area on the map, perhaps one which has some long open sight lines between you and said enemies, then just pop a couple of smoke grenades along your path and advance through without the worry of a stray sniper knocking you down in the distance as you walk on through. Not only will you be harder to see, but you'll also be invulnerable to spotting, even if you've already been spotted by the enemy. The smoke is going to remove you from the minimap and prevent you from being manually spotted, and even highlighted by that Trench Periscope we mentioned before. It's also going to hide vehicles, and it's even going to prevent ally gadgets like mines and dynamite from being spotted by enemies too, meaning that you can catch more tank players off guard as they stroll up to the objective. You are going to have to be tactical when using the smoke grenades, as they can benefit the opposing team too if you put them in the wrong places, as the spotting cancel effect works for both sides, even if it's a friendly smoke grenade which has been thrown down. But nevertheless, if a squad works together using smoke to advance towards an objective, then you can bridge the gap and rush forwards a lot easier. Smoke can be used to divert your enemy's attention to somewhere else, as it is a pretty rare sight to see smoke grenades on the battlefield, and so some enemy players might choose to go and investigate a random smoke grenade going off somewhere on the map. If you've been heavily damaged and need to escape from a hiding spot quickly, as you know for a fact that every enemy player on the server is going to lob a frag grenade at you in just a moment of time, then smoke can be used here too on your own position, blocking line of sight and allowing you to retreat back to some safer cover. Because the smoke launcher is a medic gadget, you can also use it to hide yourself while reviving down players with the medical syringe, if you're quick enough. and it can also be used on tanks, allowing assault players to run over and load the bugger up with a shed load of explosives. Let's just say that there's quite a lot of different ways in which the smoke grenades can be utilised, to help both yourself and your team. And although they're not going to rack up the points and get you a load of kills, they are going to help to conceal your position and prevent you from being spotted. And really, the power of smoke shouldn't be underestimated, as they can help to assist your team in a very big way, especially when you're attacking and flanking in operations, rush and conquest. Next up is the impact grenade, which isn't really a gadget, but I'm still going to throw it in here too for good measure, as it can often be a more effective alternative to the standard frag grenade, which a lot of people tend to stick with most of the time. The impact grenade doesn't quite deliver as much bang as the frag grenade, which can kill someone with full health if they're close enough, but because the frag has a longer fuse time, this can often give your opponent more of a window to escape, or at least be dealt a lot less damage, making it otherwise a better tool for flushing out enemy players from hiding spots and cover. But if your target is quick and can react straight away after your frag lands nearby, then it's going to be far less effective at actually killing them. The impact grenade, however, is used more so as a supplement to your primary and secondary weapons, making it a bit easier to take down your targets. They're not designed to cause panic, making enemies run away, but instead they're there to help put those enemies down quickly without time to react. As soon as one hits the floor or a solid surface, the grenade is going to detonate in just a fraction of a second after, dealing an albeit lower damage to the frag, but almost immediate damage, capable of knocking off up to 72% of your opponent's health. And if they've already been weakened, then this is going to put them out of the fight straight away. Smart players can utilise this short detonation time and combine it alongside their primary weapons to rapidly shorten the time it takes to kill an enemy, with some satisfying combos. You'll have to judge distances a bit more and think about how you can use surfaces around the map to detonate the grenades near hiding enemies, but once you can master them and learn how and when to throw the impact grenades, bouncing them off walls and around cover, to finish off weakened targets trying to escape, you'll soon realise that they can be a really useful thing to have at your disposal. Impact grenades can also be an assault class player's best friend, as if you're running around with an SMG or shotgun, which is going to be relatively weak over distance, you can lob a grenade over first to wipe out a huge chunk of their health, and then quickly finish them off with one blast of the shotgun, or a couple of rounds from the SMG. Nice and simple. Though this tactic can be used with pretty much any class really, as it can also be done with the scout class too, ensuring your rifle is going to deliver a one-shot kill against that injured enemy weakened by the grenade. Some people might think that these are pretty cheap and are just there as a way to get a quick kill, but at the end of the day, every grenade type in the game is used for a specific purpose, whether that's to block off routes, flush players out of cover, or conceal your position. And in the impact grenade's case, it's there to help finish someone off, and potentially save you from being killed in a gunfight. Alongside ammo pouches and crates, a lot of support players tend to opt for the more obvious offensive gadgets like the crossbow grenade or the airburst mortar. But hidden in the support stockpile is a crafty little tool called the limpet charge, which is essentially a mine which sticks to solid surfaces and detonates 3 seconds after it's been planted, giving you enough time to retreat from that lethal blast radius. Unlike the assault's dynamite, the limpet charge will blow up even if you get killed, as it doesn't require manual detonation to activate. So if you stick a limpet charge on the surface and get taken down soon after, the charge is still going to do its work and cause the damage anyway. And also, unlike dynamite, it's completely invulnerable to attack too, so it can't be shot and destroyed prematurely, and it can't be neutralised by enemy players either. So whatever happens, that charge is going to blow regardless. The reason why the limpet charge is so good though, is because it can be used in a wide variety of ways to not only kill and take down hard to reach enemies, but also carve routes and create new pathways through walls for you and your team to navigate through to reach areas locked down by the opposition. If you know for a fact that there's a couple of snipers overlooking an area from a house, but they've rigged the place with trip mines and you don't really fancy getting your feet burnt, or let's just say that you just chased a guy with a shotgun into a room and you know he's just going to be sitting around the corner waiting to blow your head off, then you could always stick a limpet charge onto the wall nearby and get the hell out of there, and watch that room, or in some cases a large portion of the house, get completely destroyed, wiping out your targets in the process. This destructive power can be used in a lot of offensive ways to take out campers behind walls or in buildings unexpectedly. But the limpet charge isn't just designed to troll players behind walls, it's also there to assist assault players when taking out vehicles too. A sneaky charge planted on a tank usually won't be enough to completely destroy it, but in a lot of cases it will disable it, allowing other players to rush in and finish it off. And because the limpet charge deals quite a heavy amount of damage to vehicles, especially to the smaller ones like the light tanks, then it can sometimes be enough to take it down by itself, if said vehicle has already been weakened. And the best part is, like I said before, that charge is going to detonate even if you get killed. So unlike dynamite, you can often bring a tank down with you if you happen to die shortly after planting it. As a more tactical approach to the gadget, new flanking routes and openings can be created by breaching destructible surfaces, which are otherwise blocking your entry into a building or area. If an enemy locks the door to a bunker or building, then that door can be blown completely off, giving you and your team access. And because it was locked, a lot of enemies won't expect you to come charging through it, as they're probably going to be guarding the other doorways and windows that can be entered by your team. So probably one of the most underrated and, in my experience, one of the best gadgets in the game is the spotting flare, which really should be used by every single scout player all the time, but for some reason just isn't. And this is probably down to people not really understanding what they do and how they're supposed to be used. Unlike flares in real life that are fired in the air to reveal your position, flares in Battlefield are supposed to be fired at the ground or towards an area where you want them to take effect. And a lot of people in Battlefield just fire them off into the sky and get all confused about what they're actually supposed to do. The spotting flare for the scout, to me, is about as important as the health crate is for the medic, or the ammo pack for the support, as it's a ridiculously useful piece of equipment which can really help your entire team out in a huge way. Spotting flares basically play out as your own personal UAV, which can be activated at any time, to instantly reveal all enemy players on the minimap within 30 meters of the flare. It doesn't matter if they're behind a wall or even on another floor above or below you. Every enemy nearby is going to pop up on the map for both yourself and team to see, making their positions much easier to track, giving you a massive tactical advantage. If you can hear footsteps, or your spidey senses tingling, and you've just got that feeling that there's a few enemy players hanging around in the vicinity, firing a spotting flare at the floor nearby will verify whether there is or not, and it can help you plan your escape, ensuring that you're not going to rush into a room with an entire enemy squad waiting to mow you down. Because the scout class is designed for reconnaissance, helping to locate members of the opposing team, this gadget goes hand in hand with what scout players should be doing whilst playing the game, as when utilised properly, the scout can be one of the most useful and effective classes for team victory. With the scout using high damage rifles, the flares can also be used in an offensive way to finish people off too, perhaps if you've ran out of ammo with your secondary weapon, or if you just want to watch them burn. Any contact with the flare will instantly ignite the enemy, and it'll start to deal damage. And if you really want to be tactical, you could even fire a flare at a doorway or narrow corridor to obstruct it, and anyone who comes rushing through said doorway will catch fire, allowing you to take them out with a single shot of your rifle. Though it's best to remember that, although your flares won't harm teammates, they can still set you on fire too. So whatever you do, for God's sake, try not to run into your own flare. So basically, long story short, if you play as a scout, you're going to be a much bigger help to your team with the spotting flare equipped. Snipers often get a bad rep for not playing the objective, but this gadget says otherwise, as one simple flare can really turn the tides of battle into your favour. So that's pretty much it for this one, guys. You should definitely go out and try some of these gadgets if you haven't already, if you want a tactical edge. Let me know down in the comments your experience with them if you do use these gadgets already, and give me a like if you enjoyed the guide and maybe learned something new. Take it easy, and I'll be seeing you in that next episode.